Okay, so once you've accessed the Google Classroom, this is what it should look like on your desktop. You would see um a stream here. It will basically be the notifications of what's going on, if somebody did something. So yesterday someone posted a message, everybody could see it, you could comment on it. It's kind of like how you would with a Facebook feed. Now here would be the classwork, and you scroll all the way down, you will see there is the course outline, and everything is in a Word document format. That way, you download it, you can make notes, you can edit it. It's and it has our watermark on it. So here is the recommended books. You could access it. I think I shared some of these already, but it's just 2 books. You can get it. So the first thing, so once we finish today's class, the class recordings will be here. It will be uploaded. And then when you get the time, you do the quiz. So you click on the quiz and it will, when you're finished with it, I will issue the certificate of participation. Okay. So the first one this morning is respiratory and inflammatory support. So the first herb that we're going to look at is something that we know. It's something that grows like a weed everywhere. It's something that we use it's a staple in our cooking, in our green seasoning, in our chows. We literally put this in everything. Maybe that's why we as Chinese have like such good health, like day-to-day health compared to normal people, because it's on par with how Asian people have food, where they would have certain spices, certain herbs that they would put in everyday food that is really good for your gut bacteria, that helps with inflammation, that helps with digestion. And because it uses so much, it just helps with overall health. So that way you, get the benefits of it. And we know the taste and benefits of shadow bunny. When you add it to food, it alleviates your food. It's so much more. So why not use it for other things other than just food, right? So you can prepare it in a herbal mix with other herbs if you like. You can put it on a poultice on your skin. So for in health, that will help with inflammation. So so anything that helps with inflammation is going to help with arthritis. It's highly antibacterial and as well as antimicrobial. So it doesn't have to do with anything with antiviral, so it really helps. And it's a digestion aid. So it relieves stomach cramps and reduces bloating and gas. So you could even drink it as a tea. I have never tried drinking it as a tea, but I did put it in a tea like mix. So I can't tell what the isolated taste is like. If you do, please share it in our San Giovanni community group. You could send us pictures and such. So or a video in the group and let us know what you think. So it's been also been used for pain relief. So headaches, fever, and body aches. Shadabani is also rich in antioxidants, which we talk about oxidative stress, where we have free radicals roaming within your body, and these radicals damage your tissue, which is known as oxidative stress. And when you have antioxidants, it's going to bind with these free radicals, remove the free radicals from your body, and it's going to reduce any damage on these tissues, and thus will reduce any risk of chronic diseases or reduce the amount of disease that you get in that tissue. So ways that we can use it. So I mentioned making a tea with it, cooking it. We use cooking for sure. And I mentioned making a poultice. So that will be a topical application where you have that pain or inflammation. Usually will be like your joints. And then infused oil. So we did infuse oil in our herbal preparation session. So you will be able to decide if you want to make it part of a mix with different herbs to have a synergistic relationship with that other herb that will give you an added benefit, or what type of carrier oil you want, especially if it is like a topical oil. You want something that is fast absorbing and that will not be very heavy, etc. So I like to tell people about Padina. This one, we have it. These literally grow like a weed. Like once it this unlike mint, once it hits the ground, that is it. It is so hard to get rid of this. However, you can use it in your herbal preparations. You can dry it and use it for a tea. You could use it in your um as a poultice as well. It's very good for in food. It alleviates the flavors of meat. You can put it in cheese paste too. It really alleviates the flavors as well. So you can find a lot of uses for it, especially if you know you can't get rid of it. So it's really, really good for your respiratory support. This is something that I tell people to use when you have any kind of respiratory ailments. So bronchitis, your cold, coughs, asthma. It really clears that mucus from within your lungs and help you to get relief during any respiratory ailments. Anti-inflammatory. So we know that anything that reduces inflammation in the body is really good because you want to kind of give your liver a little break from trying to break down all these things themselves. So you will consume food with herbs and stuff intentionally, so that way you can make it easier for your body to do its job. So again, this is antibacterial and antifungal. And this one can be used for skin conditions and digestion. So it's a digestive aid. So reduce indigestion, flatulence, and it stimulates your appetite. So I guess this is why, like when you put it in sauces and chutneys and stuff, it just makes your food so much better. You want to eat it. You feel like, yes, I want to continue this. And you have you get excited for your next bite of food. So you can make it into a tea and have it before and after, you eat, if that is the case. Some people prefer to have teas before. It open up your appetite. So that way you prepare your stomach for receiving food, as with any digestive tea. So it's also great in wound healing, and you can apply it like a poultice to your area, and it will help with swelling and inflammation. So we know how to make a tea, boiling the leaves. You could add it with other herbs or have it by itself. And then we know how to use it for cooking. You can add it to more food depending on what it is that you're making. And like I said, you can be really intentional with adding these herbs um to your meals. Because what I like to do personally is whenever I cook, I would add herbs in my stews, my soups, my curries, because these things are boiling for long. They're gonna go through different varying temperatures to get to the boiling point. So that means all your medicinal properties can be extracted at these various boiling points, and you can benefit from it, and also it can give bulk, it can give fiber for your soup if it is that you want to make it and blend it up so it's smooth and it's hidden so you don't have it chunky. You have that as well. It really adds to that meal, and it's not just the medicinal parts of it as well, but you can actually get that fiber, which is really good for your digestion, is good for your colon and your overall health. In topical use, I mentioned making a poultice. So you can also, because this is really good for your lungs, so you can also do a steam inhalation for this as well. But we didn't do steam inhalation as any of our herbal preparations. Before this one, you have to use this one. You need, because of the high temperatures with your steam, you want to be very, very careful and uh take your time with it. I didn't teach it because it's a liability to me if I do that, but you can learn from somebody or YouTube in this case. Okay, so oregano. We all know this is our herb that we put on pizza or anything in Italian food. And this is a staple in the herbal community. This and rosemary is something that you can recommend for almost everything because of how diverse and how much benefits it has and how versatile it is. A lot of people would use it because it is antibacterial and it's antiviral. You can use it for both respiratory and digestive purposes. So whenever it's like flu season, this is something people make, especially they would make it in the oil. And when we did the herbal preparations, I put it in olive oil. That is usually how you will find it, or you will find it as a extract where they do a cold press extract and extract the oil. But this is usually very that one will be very bitter and very concentrated because it's almost close to something like essential oils concentration. So it will be caustic or will burn your skin. Therefore, you will need to put that one in a carrier oil of your choice to be able to use it. But you can infuse it in whatever oil you want and take it orally if it is that you take a oil that is for oral consumption for your infusion. So antioxidants, we talk about antioxidants and how important they are. And we talk about reducing inflammation in your body. So when you reduce inflammation, this is also good for your conditions such as your arthritis, because we know that is inflammation of like your joints, you have asthma and cardiovascular disease. So it also promotes healthy digestion by stimulating bile flow and reducing bloating, gas, and indigestion. So you can drink it as a tea, or you can take a few drops of your oil and take it orally and prepare yourself for the food. Now, depending on your palate or your preference, you can. Okay, so we did carrier oils in our herbal preparations class, and a carrier oil is basically that. It is an oil used to carry herbs or medicinal properties It doesn't really dilute it, but it puts it in a form that is more palatable or easier for us to get. So basically your extraction is going to happen in oils instead of water when you do, and that is called a carrier oil because it acts as a third party to bring that medicinal property from the plant to you. Okay, so continue. Um, okay, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, right, the palette, right. Sorry. So the palette, when you stimulate, so everybody is different. Some people might prefer to use the oil. Some people might think the oil lingers and they might prefer to drink a cup of tea. Or some people might prefer to make a tincture. And tincture is alcohol based and you can literally shot it and no taste really lingers with your tincture. So it have different forms of making medicine. You just need to find one that works for you and is palatable. I personally hate to use oils because of the taste. I am more of a tincture girly because I like something that's quick, but some people will not be able to use tinctures because it's alcohol based. And it's not something that you can give your kids, but there is glycerin. You can do the extract with glycerin and it works even better if you can get fresh oregano leaves versus dried. But again, we did those when we did herbal preparation, so you could decide if this is something that you want to make. So it's an immune booster because it's antiviral, antimicrobial, and antioxidant properties. So it will support your immune system. You don't always have to use it when you get infection. So if you're a proactive person like me, you can take it before, it's before flu season, your body's gonna feel run down. You start to be a little bit proactive and try to give your system a boost before any ailments actually come, especially if you know when to expect illness, especially seasonal illnesses. So we know we can make it in cooking. We put it in soup, sauces, marinades. That is what we're accustomed to, especially cooking Italian or pizza, like I mentioned. But you can make it in hot water, so you could make that water infusion and drink it. But I talk about the oil, so you can put it for both oral and topical uses. And again, you can use it for steam inhalation because it's really good for your respiratory support. So because of that, you can use it for steam inhalation. Okay, so rosemary. This one is my favorite. This is my favorite herb because she's so versatile. And once you study a herb, you will pick your favorites. She grows like a weed if you let her. She doesn't need much. She grows in sandy soil. She doesn't really need much rain and it propagates so much that it doesn't reach quite the weed status of pudina and mint, but y'all would just join in when we get kicked back out. Just use the same link. But everybody has it. We use it in cooking, especially meats. So if you could get a plant, that would be the best thing because of its cognitive support. It helps with memory and concentration. It stimulates blood flow to your brain, and what that does is once blood goes to your brain, it's going to carry nutrients to your brain. It's going to stimulate things like hair growth. It works with once your blood is circulating. So people who have poor blood circulation, any ailment that is linked to poor blood circulation is going to be fixed or helped or eased with rosemary. And it has to be a continuous use. Okay, so let me give a quick disclaimer. Rosemary should not be used by a pregnant woman because it is very abortive. So this is why we don't really recommend herbs for women who are pregnant, even though some people do use it with their pregnancy. Not No two pregnancies are the same and therefore should always be treated with caution, even if it's you have used it before, right? So continuing. So once it helps with circulation, it's going to carry nutrients to these areas. And then once blood can go to these areas, uh, healing will happen. All the benefits that that plant is going to be used for is going to go to where it needs to go. So you can take rosemary in whatever form that is easier for you. I love it, like I said, cooking and teas, that's my thing. Sometimes I have it in an oil, and the oil will be for more topical applications for wound healing, or if I like put it on your scalp for hair growth. Um, so you decide what your purpose is when you make that herbal preparation. So it's good for your brain, it's good for memory and concentration. So if you know that you study a lot or you have kids who study, it's really good to have. I know ginkgo and gotu kola are usually the go-to, but rosemary is really good to help with people who studying as well. To kind not to kind of but it gives you that boost, mental clarity, helps with your blood flow, and keeps away that brain fog when you feel overwhelmed. Okay, so it's also anti-inflammatory. So it will aid in things like arthritis and muscle aches because it's going to help with, once you can reduce inflammation, you can reduce pain. Because once your inflammation is reduced, you don't have that high acidic nature in your body, and therefore pain will be reduced. So this is also antioxidant and helps with your respiratory health. So it's going to aid with cold asthma and bronchitis. And you can also use rosemary to help with respiratory infections. So aside from stimulation, from blood circulation, it stimulates digestion. So it's going to stimulate the release of digestive enzymes. And these enzymes are going to help with digestion, like actually breaking down the food. It's going to reduce bloating, gas and indigestion. So you can make your rosemary tea, um, however you like. You can actually, add other herbs with it. And well, we talked about the oil and cooking, and you can do the steam inhalation for your respiratory support. Fenugreek. So fenugreek, people also know this as meaty. We know it, yeah. This is really good for inflammation. So how I like to have it is, if it is that I know my inflammation is high and I could feel it, I will put a tablespoon in 1 liter of water, allow it to infuse and sip on that, and then add another liter of water, allow it to infuse and sip on that. And because that is basic, you drinking water, it's going to help retain water in your system as well. But if it is that you don't want to do that, you can decide how best you want to consume fenugreek. So the medicinal properties will include blood sugar regulation. So this is really good for diabetics, people who are pre-diabetic, especially if you know you have a history of diabetes in your family. It helps reduce blood sugar levels, and it's also good for people who have PCOS because of that blood sugar regulation. Lactation support. So this helps bring your milk for breastfeeding mothers. So usually people who have issues with getting blood flow, somebody would usually say, hey, have some fenugreek, have some meaty, and it will help with digestion. So these seeds are rich in soluble fiber, which is very, very good for your digestion process and thus reduces constipation. And anything that helps with your digestive issues is going to help with indigestion and things like heartburn. So, and if you don't have that, you probably not going to have acid reflux because the fiber, the seeds, is going to act as a protective coating in your stomach, and you're not going to have acid reflux happening because of this protection. So it's also anti-inflammatory, so you can use it for arthritis and gout. And it's also used to soothe skin irritation and inflammation when you apply it topically. So, right. So because fenugreek has things like phytoestrogen in it, it can help with managing symptoms of hormonal imbalance. So it can help with PMS and menopause, and it can, well, I haven't tested this one in men, but it's also believed to boost testosterone levels and improve libido in men. I don't work with a lot of men, so I can't see for this one. But if anybody wants to try it and give us feedback, we would really appreciate it. Okay, so anything that helps with your digestion and satiation is going to help with weight management, because what's going to happen is once you feel full or once you have digestion happening, you can have a healthy metabolism and you would not overeat. You would manage what you eat well. And in that case, you will not have to eat like emotionally eat or feel like, because sometimes, you don't feel full, you don't feel like you've gotten enough food, or you want to eat large portions because you you take quite some time between meals. That's not really good for your weight, because if it is that happens, the excess food that isn't digested gets stored as fat in our system. So it's better to eat smaller meals more frequently and try to, have these digestive aids that is going to make sure that digestion happens how it should. So fenugreek also help lower bad cholesterol levels, which is your LDLs, and maintain HDL cholesterol, so you get good heart health. It also lowers triglycerides, and once triglycerides are removed, your overall cardiovascular health is improved. So fenugreek can be used to expel mucus. So once anything expels mucus from your respiratory tract, yeah, it's going to be useful during coughs and bronchitis. So hair and skin, it is part of um like shampoos, oils,